My name's Abe Bonowitz with Death Penalty Action, and I was a proud part of the Delaware Repeal Project back in 2012, 13, 14, 15, when we passed legislation in the Senate but couldn't get it through the House. And then the courts threw it out. And then this year, because of so many of you, the death penalty has been scrubbed. Or as I should probably say, the sun is setting on the death penalty here in Delaware. So I was very excited when we had this opportunity to wring out the death penalty and to transfer this bell from Delaware citizens opposed to the death penalty to death penalty action, and specifically to the For Whom the Bells Toll campaign, which provides an opportunity for communities of faith and any other community that has bells to toll the bells at the time of the execution. You've all heard it said, never ask for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee, right? And it tolls to remind us of all of the injustices. So before we begin tolling, I would invite Kevin O'Connell to come up and to orient us to a bit about this bell and also to where we're standing and why we're here at this time. Kevin?
Thanks, Abe. So the bell came to us from a Franciscan friar, Brother David Schlatter, who's a friar with the province of Holy Name out of New York, and was stationed in Wilmington for quite some time, for about 15 years. And David had a lot of bells. He acquired them. There's only one foundry in North America, and it's the McShane Foundry. And this is a ship's bell. And he purchased a number of bells, and he had the bells of remembrance, which were on a trailer, 3 of them, to honor the people who died in 9/11, including Father Michael Judge, who was a friar with Brother David. But he got this one for Delaware citizens opposed to the death penalty and had it mounted on this trailer. And from about 2003 till about 2010, we would bring this trailer to what back then was known as the Delaware Correctional Center, which is what's behind me, for vigils between midnight and 3 a.m. when executions occurred. And we would toll the bell for the number of people who'd been executed. We would toll at the time of the execution. We would toll the bell for the victims of those who had been murdered. But it was important to us. And eventually, the Department of Corrections stopped us from bringing the bell. And the reason they did that, we learned, was the inmates could hear it. And they wanted to keep emotions low on the night of an execution, and they feared that hearing the bell might cause them to have emotions. So this has been a very meaningful part of the abolition effort here in Delaware. The Liberty Bell was originally about abolitionists, albeit of a different type. And so it's been our symbol for many, many years. So we are proud to have the opportunity to hand this bell over to Abe, the Death Penalty Action, and for the For Whom the Bell Tolls project, because bells don't need to sit in garages or museums. They need to be rung. People need to hear them, and this bell will continue to be heard. So that's our story, Abe.
Can we hear me? Is that working? Yeah. So how many people here have stood outside this prison at the time of executions? It's been a while. I want to invite, I think I saw 4 people. I want to invite you to come up and lead us in, each of you take 4 and toll this bell 4 times till we get 16 gongs of the bell for the 16 people that were killed in all of our names across the street from where we're standing now. And as you do, come forward and feel free to offer a few thoughts and remarks about your experience of this, of what's happened here and what we're doing today.
I am Barbara Lewis, mother of Robert Gaddis, who, thank God, the bell never rang. He's the one who was saved in 2012 when the death penalty was put to rest the first time. Thank God. So I would like to toll the bell for the 4 young men, and Kevin, you can name them, who did not escape the tolling of the bell.
Sorry, it helps if I turn it on. Yeah. So Cornelius Ferguson was one of the prisoners who was executed here in Delaware. And I met him several times and we exchanged letters, and what touched me tremendously was on the last afternoon of his life, he spent a good amount of time writing a long letter to me. And so I'm going to be tolling it for him and for 3 other inmates whom I didn't get to know as well, but it helps to know that they were people with real lives and hopes and dreams. And one of their biggest dreams was that someday we would get rid of this arcane and barbaric practice.
I'm David Chandler. I was only here for one execution. I don't know if it was the last one, but it was one of the last ones, so I didn't have to come back again, which is good.
I've already told you I'm Kevin O'Connell. 3 of the men who were executed were clients of mine. Thank God Robert Gaddis, who was a client of mine, had his sentence commuted by Governor Markell, and that's a wonderful thing. The story that I'll remember most, though, a close friend and colleague of mine, Jerry Capone, had a client, James Clark, and he was with him at the time that he was executed. He was in the outside the chamber. And before he was executed, James said the biggest thing that he worried about was that he was going to be afraid. when it came time, and that he wouldn't be a man, as he said. And when Jerry went out for the execution to happen and Mr. Clark was put on the gurney, the warden asked him if he had any last words, and all he said was, "Hey, Mr. Capone, it's okay. I feel fine." So that's always meant a lot to me.
So we remember. Hold on. Is it on? Yeah. We remember the victims as well, but not with more killing. And now we have the opportunity for each of us to come and toll this bell and to remember our loved ones who were murdered, and remember our loved ones who were executed, and remember the work that all of us have done, and so many others who are not here right now did to get us to the place where we are right now, which is Delaware. Just 2 weeks ago tomorrow, Governor Carney signed the bill that scrubbed the death penalty from Delaware law. We still have work to do. We still have to pass the constitutional prohibition, which is in our plan for the next several years. Oh, come on in. It's Representative Dorsey. Come on. It takes a lot of people to make it happen. And people like Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker can't do it without all of us being in support and being able to help get all of the people that have to line up behind a bill sponsor, not just her, but so many others, Karen Peterson before her, and I'm blanking on a bunch of names right now. But as I was saying, we remember the victims, but not with more killing. And this is our opportunity for each of us to take a moment and toll this bell and send it on its way from Delaware to the other states that are still executing. Just in the past several weeks, we've had 6 executions in South Carolina for the first time in over a decade, and then in Texas and Missouri, a man who in all likelihood was innocent, and then in Oklahoma, a man who didn't kill anyone, and then in Alabama, the second gas execution in this country's history with the current mechanism of gas. And then, a couple days later, another person in Texas. There's 2 more executions scheduled next week, another one the week after that, 8 total just this year. And the For Whom the Bells Toll project envisions the opportunity for people of faith and others in their community who have bells to toll the bells at the time of the execution. So we're grateful not to have an execution today, but recognizing that tomorrow, October 10th, is World Day Against the Death Penalty. We're tolling this also for all of the people who are facing execution all across this planet. There is a horrific execution spree going on in Iran right now. Sometimes more than a dozen a week. People who are arrested for protesting, for speaking against the government, and that sort of thing. So for people around the world, and for each of us personally, we toll the bell. And I invite you to just come, line up here, and everybody gets to take as many tolls as you want. Pull it hard. Make it loud so they hear it across the street. Everybody just line up and we'll get this done.
Everyone. Do I need this microphone? Okay, there we go. Good evening, everyone. I thank you all for being here on today. I'm Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker, and I am the bill sponsor of House Bill 70, the act to abolish the death penalty in the state of Delaware. I'm grateful to be joined by my colleague, Representative Medina Wilson Anton, who was a yes vote for for this bill. Kevin O'Connell, and to these ladies who have worked tirelessly down through the years, I would like to just say thank you to you. You have been an example, a shining example of what it is to continue to fight for justice in the midst of storms. I'm grateful to call you family and friends. To those of you who are here on today, for whom the bell tolls, thank you for standing with us down through the years. When we stood on the the Senate floor with Senator Karen Peterson, and we said we shall not continue this practice. Here we are, almost 13 years later. 13 is actually a lucky number, isn't it? Abolishing the death penalty in the state of Delaware and working together. This is what it looks like when we come together in unity. And so I represent the 3rd District. I like to say, for those of you who know me well, that's for the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. But most importantly, I'm grateful to have you as my constituent. I'm grateful to have you as a mentor and friend. When we started this journey, people kept telling us it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And we said it will. To our host on today, thank you. We've been friends down through the years. And I felt that when you said for your son, because your son was my baby. I thank you. I stand here proud of the work that we've been able to do, but knowing there's still more work to be done. We still have to pass that constitutional amendment. Representative Medina Wilson Anton, no pressure. We still have so much more to do, but we're getting it done. And so to each and every one of you, I say thank you. This is a work that could not be done individually. Traveling around the country, I can't stop laughing about the emails where you say, anybody willing to house me? It tickles my soul because your fight and your willingness to continue, regardless if the funds are there or not, you stay in the fight. I shared at the bill signing how I arrived at this place was through, we're a murder victim family, having a relative who was killed in a racially motivated situation in Newark, Delaware. And the unfortunate part of it, I was so bitter, so angry. But this is the person who I became by figuring out my purpose through my pain. And so when we should have been celebrating graduations in my family, we had a funeral because my cousin's face was run over by Caucasians in a fight. I put the car in reverse and ran over him again, and there could not be an open casket for him. And at the age of $13 is a good number. 13 is a good number. Just hit me. That was the age. Just process. That was the age that I was when all this happened. Wow. Wow. So to be able to go from pain to passion and be able to toll this bell, I say to you two stalwarts, thank you for being the wind beneath my wings with this bill. To all of you, each and every one of you, thank you. I shall toll the bell.
chance to toll the bell yet, who would like to? Please. Scott?